Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our second session in the Google Partners Academy on Air series. My name is Erica.
And I'm Michelle.
And we're really excited to talk to you today about how to increase your click-through rate with ad extensions. So in our last session, we talked about how to create incredible ads, and today we're going to talk about how to complement them with ad extensions. So let's jump in. Last session, we talked about how to create them and really optimize your ad creatives and settings to make sure you're set up for success. Today, we're going to talk about how to complement those settings and those creatives with extensions and really increase your click-through rate. And following that, we'll close out the series with really how to capture your potential customers and really be there where they are and get those conversions. So today's session, if there's one thing you take away from today's session, it should be to implement at least 4 ad extensions per ad group in your account. So there are 3 universally relevant extensions for all businesses, and then be sure to add at least 1 extension that's particularly relevant for your business type. And today we're going to go into all of the details about every extension type, including a few new ones, so that you know all the options that are available to you.
So last week, we mentioned that 3.5 billion searches happen on Google every day. Ads are served on many of those searches. We explained last week how you can write compelling ads and set your campaign to optimized ad rotation for either clicks or conversions. Today, we're going to focus on how extensions can help to improve your ads visibility and to get users to take action quickly once they get to your site. So ad extensions complement your ads to enhance your message. They provide improved visibility. You can show up to 4 extensions, like Erica said, with your ad, giving your ads more prominence. You can also better qualify your customers. Implementing ad extensions help you better qualify customers who want to engage with your business. And lastly, you can create and serve your customers more appealing ads. Giving users more information within your ad is a cost-effective way to get more clicks compared to raising your bid to increase your position. When users know what to expect upon arriving at your website, they're more likely to perform the intended action of the ad.
So ad extensions really complement your message, and we found that on average you'll see a 10 to 15% click-through rate uplift from implementing a new ad extension. Again, it's really providing more information so that users are making more informed clicks to learn more about your business on your website. They see a lot more information up front, and maybe it encourages them to click to find out more, or maybe they see exactly what they were looking for and they're ready to convert. So there are 3 different categories of extensions that we have here. There's first, fully automated. These are extensions that are directly populated by Google, and they don't require any action on your part. So we'll set them up for you. We want to see your campaign succeed, and we'll show those and set those up for you automatically. Then there are some that can be automated or advertiser provided. So they can be automatic, but you can also set them up to control your messaging and really customize exactly how your ads are serving. And then lastly, we have those that are strictly advertiser provided. This means that you're implementing the extensions that make sense for your business type. And you can, again, really control your messaging to maybe try out different combinations and see what works best to get the best results for your account.
So now that Erica went over automated versus advertiser provided extensions, let's take a bit of a deep dive into the specific extension types. For the purpose of this hangout, we're only going to focus on the green circle, or the advertiser-provided extensions. As mentioned in the introduction, you should implement at least 4 ad extensions per ad group. Our main recommendation is to add the extensions that are universally relevant to all verticals: sitelinks, structured snippets, and callouts. Once you have those added, you can also add an additional extension that's relevant to your business. For example, let's say you're trying to drive in-store visits. You would want to make sure that your location extensions are enabled as well.
So you could have a combination of sitelinks, structured snippets, callouts, which provide a lot of information, and then that location extension shows them where you're located physically to really drive that conversion of in-store visits. It's a great combination.
Cool. So now we're going to take a little bit of a deeper dive into each of the different extension types. Let's start with sitelinks. Sitelinks, firstly, provide you with a lot of visibility on the search results page. They provide more space on search results, which make your ad more visible. And as most of you know, they're just the links that show up underneath your ad. They result in increased engagement. Sitelinks boosts average click-through rate by 10 to 20% for your non-branded search terms, and even up to 50% when the search term is branded. It can increase conversions. By taking users to the right page directly, you reduce the number of steps the users need to perform to get to that ultimate conversion goal. And lastly, site links are very easy to manage. You can add them on the account, campaign, or ad group level, depending on how granular you want to get. Remember, you don't have to bid separately or add separate keywords for site links. AdWords will automatically display the top performing site link or most relevant site link for each query. And a quick note on this, third-party sites are supported by Sitelinks. So if you have a Facebook page, Twitter, YouTube, or an awesome Google Plus page, you can go ahead and link to those sites as well.
Awesome. So next are callout extensions. And this is essentially an extra line of ad text. And it's broken up into really tight, short, 25-character snippets of text. These are fantastic to boost engagement. The added information that you can give a customer here drives an increase of approximately 10% in our tests. These are a great way to also convince users. So it's a really powerful way to highlight these value-added attributes about a particular product or service that you have and separate yourself from the competition. So think of small sound bites of what you would pitch to someone if you wanted them to choose your ad over the one below it, or the one next to it, or the business next door. Also, the best part about callouts is that they're very easy to implement. It's 25 characters and that's it. There's no URLs, no tracking needed. So a few best practices to keep in mind when it comes to callouts. Be brief. You only have 25 characters, but be as short and specific as possible. So the more specific you can be, the better. The more high quality the information is going to be. Also, make sure that you're being appealing. So make sure that you're talking about unique offerings that you have. Again, thinking about those value-added attributes. Be concrete as well. So as much as you can, focus on specifics. For example, if you're a car dealership, rather than saying something like, great gas mileage, you might want to say, we get exactly 35 miles per gallon. That might be more convincing to your potential customers. Also, think bullet points. So don't think sentences like, we have free shipping, just think free shipping. Think about the whole experience when someone's seeing your ad. They're reading the headline, they're reading those description lines of text, and these callouts are really short, kind of punchy ways to just give them the few different bullet points of value add. And lastly, as with all extensions, you can monitor your performance from the Ad Extensions tab. So you can see the click-through rate that you're getting when your callout extension is present.
And the thirdly universally relevant ad extension are structured snippets. Structured snippets is an additional line of ad text which allows you to describe the features of a specific product or the range of products or services that your business offers. Structured snippets often drive more qualified leads. By giving users specific information about what you have to offer before they go to your website, they're more likely to convert after having visited. So a few best practices to keep in mind when you're writing out your structured snippet, which again is in the format of a header, which will give you a list of headers you can choose from, and then values that you input yourself. Firstly is to focus on the essential. So make sure the headers you select provide information that is useful and attractive to your users. A best practice is to add at least 2 headers with ideally 4 values per header. Secondly, be relevant. The values you apply to each header must make sense in the context of the chosen header. For example, one of our headers is brands. Adidas would be a brand, so that would be a value for that header. For our amenity header, you could choose Wi-Fi or style, combat boots. Lastly, avoid confusion. Structured snippets highlight a specific aspect of the products or services offered, while callouts highlight what makes them unique.
And structured snippets and callouts can seem quite similar, but we'll walk through an example here so that you can really see how distinct they are and make sure you're using getting the most out of both types of extensions.
Yeah, and remember that these extensions are complementary, and they can be used together for the best effect to provide users with better information before choosing to click. So when would you use highlight? When would you use callouts? You would use them when you want to highlight what makes your business, products, or services unique. And you would use structured snippets when you're trying to highlight a specific aspect of the products or services you offer. So for example, let's say you're an e-commerce site and you want to highlight some specific services that you think you're offering that your competitors aren't, maybe. You could say you have same-day delivery, free shipping, and 24/7 customer support. Those are all great examples of really solid callouts. Let's say you're a hotel chain and you want to highlight some of the amenities that you offer. You can choose the amenities header and select free Wi-Fi, pool, and fitness center as different values. And a quick technical note on callouts and structured snippets: you need to implement at least 2 callouts for the callouts to serve with your ads. And for structured snippets, you must have at least 3 values per header for the structured snippets to serve.
Great. Next up is price extensions, which are a newer format that really allow you to showcase the range of the products or services that you offer and how much they cost to your users. On mobile, as you can see on the slide, in position 1, it shows us swipeable cards. And this really provides valuable information to your prospective customers before they click on your ads. One of the best features of price extensions is that we have deep links available. What that means is that if someone clicks on one of the specific items that's a part of the price extension, it'll take them directly to that product page. This is, again, trying to eliminate steps of a user having to go to your website and then find that item that they saw the price for on the ad. It takes them directly to the product page to hopefully make conversion easier. This is currently available on all devices and positions, and it's supported in 11 languages and 24 currencies. So you have a lot of options when it comes to price extensions, and again, they're very, very visible and are known to have a high CTR uplift, which is exciting to see.
Absolutely.
So there's a few components to a price extension. So we'll walk through an example of a hair salon, and you can think about how this applies to lots of different business types. So in this particular price extension, we have, of course, the first component, which is the header. So in this case, it's a women's haircut. And then you can see you also have, in the extension, you also have an option for a men's haircut. Here we have a price qualifier. This means that rather than stating a concrete price of a women's haircut is this much, you're saying that the women's haircut starts at a price of $70. So you have that qualifier where it's from $70, but it can be more expensive. Then, of course, you have the price. And another option to include in the extension is, of course, the price unit. So we understand that businesses have a lot of different price units. It may be, an hourly rate, so maybe $70 per hour or $70 per day. So different businesses have different needs, and there are price units to accommodate a lot of the different pricing strategies that you may have. And then there's also an option to include a brief description. So in this case, a women's haircut also includes a shampoo and style, which provides a bit more information. If a user is comparison shopping for a women's haircut and they see that this price includes a shampoo and a style, they may be more inclined to click. So those descriptions can be really valuable.
So Erica just walked us through a great example of price extensions that would most likely be added on the account level. I want to walk through a little bit how you can add the price extensions to the different levels to maximize your business goals. So let's start on the ad group level. Let's say you're a car dealership. You're running one campaign and you sell 3 different types of cars. Let's say you sell trucks, cars, or trucks, sedans, and SUVs. Within each ad group, you might sell 3 different types of sedans, for example. Maybe you have a basic model, maybe you have a mid-level model, and maybe you have a luxury model. You can set your price extensions to say our basic models of sedans start at $15,000, and our mid-level starts at $25,000, for example, and our luxury models start at $40,000. So that's a great way to kind of maximize your price extensions and get it as granular and as relevant to the user search query as possible.
Absolutely. And when you're thinking about what level to apply this particular extension at, think about, what is going to be relevant to my user in terms of, is it a specific category of products that's only within that ad group? In which case, you may say that the same offer at a higher level wouldn't be relevant. And that's the time that you'd want to implement this at the ad group level. So you really want to take advantage of those price qualifiers and the price units at all levels, really. Yeah. But at the ad group level, you're getting more and more specific and more granular. So just think about the levels of granularity that you have in your account structure, and then decide where it makes sense to, make it granular.
And one more note on that too, make sure you set your landing page for the price extension to the page that would cover all of the prices that are listed, or if it's just a specific price, to that price page itself.
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, remember, you want to make your ads as relevant to your users as possible. So if your ad group is, really specific, again, going back to that car dealership example, if you have an ad group that's very specific to a certain type of SUV, then within there, you can create price extensions that are for that specific type of SUV, 3 different options that have very slightly different prices. Whereas that same extension at the campaign level would maybe be less granular and say, here's 3 different options that range in these small price ranges. So really think about the level of granularity that makes sense for your user.
And for each price extension, you need to add a minimum of 3 prices per price extension. And we have a max of 8 prices.
Great to keep in mind.
Yeah.
So next we're going to go into message extensions. And this is a newer mobile-only format that really enables you to connect with your users on a growing segment that prefer to text. So the call extension is a long-time extension that a lot of businesses have used. And a lot of people, when they see an ad, they just want to place a call and get all the information they need. And now we have this new option that you can message with your potential customers. Nearly 2/3 of smartphone users are using messaging more than 5 times a day to communicate with others. So this is really an example of meeting users where they are and meeting them in the medium that they are, to hopefully reduce any missed opportunities just because someone isn't available to make a phone call or wants to interact with your business but maybe is in a place where they can't make a call just yet. So a few benefits to message extensions. First is, of course, convenience. Consumers want to interact with your business on their terms. So these extensions can give your ads a new tool so that your business doesn't miss a single opportunity. Again, if someone's in a place where they can't exactly make a phone call, rather than closing out their phone and saying, I'll do it later, maybe they just send a quick text to get that conversation started. Also, pre-qualification. So this gives users the chance to ask questions, review products, talk pricing, or ask for any details that aren't found on your website. So this can be a great way for them to immediately get information that they need to decide if it's a qualified lead. And then lastly, of course, this is a way to generate leads, just like call extensions. So you can simply receive the messages from users and then put them in a queue to perhaps call at a later time or open up a communication channel over email, whatever is most convenient to them. But again, the message extension is really designed to help initiate these conversations that may not happen if they didn't have the messaging option. So it's a really good extension type. And again, it is mobile only because they are, of course, messaging on their devices. So a few best practices when it comes to message extensions. The first is to be very clear and relevant. So you want to make sure that you're matching your click-to-message ads with a campaign or even an ad group's theme. Again, thinking about the ad experience as one whole experience, taking into account the headline, the description lines of text, and any other ad extensions you may have present. Make sure that it all flows together and creates a seamless user experience and that you're not replicating anything that already exists in a different extension. You can also put together pre-filled message text that makes users excited to contact you. This is really key because it can help guide the conversation and make it easy for the user to get the information they need. So for example, if you're preparing to launch a new product, then you could ask users to join a message list to get ongoing updates. And the pre-filled message could be, notify me about upcoming updates. This is a really great specific pre-filled message that not only tells the user what they can expect to receive back from you when you message back, but it can also really help guide the actions that you want and give them a good sense of what they can expect. So that's just one example, but another very common example could be, contact us to get a quote. And the pre-filled message could be, I'm interested in getting a quote for your services. And then maybe they can provide a little bit of detail to complete the message. A third part to be very clear and relevant is to make sure you're scheduling your message extensions to show when you have someone to answer. So you want to make sure that someone can, in a timely manner, message back. So if you're only available during business hours, or of course you can decide the schedule that you want to message back, that's a great way to make sure that you're starting off on a good foot with any potential customers.
And a quick note on that as well, make sure that the phone number that you input has SMS capabilities, because you want to make sure it's not going to a dead end.
Absolutely. So another best practice when it comes to message extensions is to make sure it's a great conversation. So ensure that the texts that you receive are the type of interactions you want with customers. Again, you can really guide the conversation with that pre-filled message text. So think about how you want to get the conversation onto the right foot, and also think about how you're replying, what language you're using, what questions you're asking, and how you're making it personal to them. Also, ideally, use local numbers if you have them available. This can make them feel more relevant and more clear and really create that user trust. And also have a plan to transition from texting to another mode of interaction if needed. So keeping that in mind, how you want to create the conversation with message, but then maybe take it offline to in person. Maybe it's over email, maybe it's over the phone. Really make sure that you're using this as a launch pad to hopefully get that conversion at the end of the day. Next is measuring the value of these conversions. So create a system to track the value of text-based interactions. As this is a newer extension and you're figuring out how it works for your business and you're trying different ways of messaging, create a system so that you understand which initial messages are coming through and how far in the funnel your potential customers are getting. Are they getting past the quote phase and are they turning into conversions? Is there maybe a bottleneck at some phase where you feel like, maybe that's the place I need to take this offline or change the mode of communication? So create a system to really track how it's performing for you, maybe what issues are. And you can also start to adapt your pre-filled message or maybe your reply strategy based on how that's going. So measuring is really important to make sure you're optimizing specifically for your business and for your potential customers, because every different market, all different customer segments, they may have different needs or different things may work well. So adapting to that and trying different things is important. And then lastly, with message extensions, we want to make sure that you're constantly boosting your performance. So monitor how often your message extensions are serving and how often people are taking advantage of the option to message you. You can also enable all the other extensions that make sense for your business. So really using this, again, to create a holistic ad experience for your potential customers. And then a huge added benefit is that you can combine remarketing lists for search ads with customer match and message extensions. This is a great way to make sure you're tailoring your message extensions to an audience that's already familiar with your business. So maybe you have a list of people who have already visited your website, for example. They already know a lot of basic information, and maybe they just need that final push to send you a message. So you can create text that really tailors to that audience specifically, rather than more general, call to action to message us, text that may work for a more general audience. So that's a great way to really hone in on specifics for different user groups.
Okay, so we just did a big overview of the main extensions that we offer. Let's go over the main takeaways. Firstly, we want to make sure that you're leveraging the 3 universally relevant extensions, which are Sitelinks, callouts, and structured snippets. Those are generally applicable to all of our advertisers. You should at least have all these 3 implemented. In addition, make sure that you're adding at least one additional extension type that is relevant to your business. Maybe it's a review extension, maybe it's a call extension if you're trying to drive phone calls, maybe it's a location extension if you're trying to drive in-store visits, and price extensions and message extensions, which are our newest in our suite of extensions, which we're really excited about.
And when you're choosing the right extensions, think about what your business goal is. What do you want your users who see your ads to do? And that'll help guide exactly what information you're missing in your ad that you can add with an extension. So, really thinking about, again, if you were to, have a user in person and you were meeting them for the first time, what's all the information you would say to them? And whatever that is, you can probably translate into your ad text and all of your extensions. So thinking about it from, a pure, like you have a brand new customer who doesn't know anything about your business, what do you say? That can be a great way to guide the conversation.
Yeah, it's how do you provide context around your business to give the user the most information possible so that they can quickly make a decision and convert.
And what types of information really help guide someone's decision. Maybe you're in the type of market where the price is a huge differential in which business people go to. Or maybe you're in the type where they actually, if I think about like a lawyer, for example, price may be less important to potential customers there, and it may be, experience level. So you really want to think about what your potential customers, your existing customers care about, what made them choose you over the competition, and then translate that into extensions.
Or if you had a great, for example, review in a third-party review, you can totally highlight that to build user trust.
Absolutely. Reviews are a really key extension. So some best practices when it comes to ad extensions, and these apply to all of our ad extensions.
Yeah, so let's go over sort of high-level creative best practices you can continue to apply to your extensions. Firstly, keep the content fresh and highly relevant and very high quality. For example, if you have prices on your website and your prices change, make sure you go in and you change your price extension to reflect the new prices. Secondly, watch out for overlap or repetition. Don't just use the ad extension to repeat what you're already saying in your ad copy. It should be different and it should be fresh. Cover the 3 extensions that are universally relevant, again, Sitelinks, structured snippets, and callouts, and then one additional ad extension that's relevant to your business to maximize the co-triggering And again, we can show up to 4 extensions per ad on the search results page. And lastly, go above and beyond. Enable all extensions that make sense for your business. There's no limit to the extensions that you can add. You can add all of them if they're relevant to your business. The AdWords system will automatically choose the extensions that are the most relevant for the specific query.
And you can see that data in the Ad Extensions tab and see what the uplift is for your business particularly for different extension types. So you can actually, test things out and say, wow, Sitelinks are really driving more click-through rate uplift than price extensions for me, or maybe it's vice versa. So you can really kind of see what impact they're having on your overall ad performance. So next, we're going to go into a few myths and make sure that we are being as clear as possible in providing all the accurate information about ad extensions. So the first one is ad extensions cannot co-trigger. Is this true or false, Michelle?
This is absolutely false. Ad extensions can definitely co-trigger. As I said earlier, up to 4 extensions can show per ad. So there are different rules per type of ad extension for ad position, but the AdWords system will define the best combination, which is why it's important that you have all of these extensions enabled in your account.
Exactly. Take control of what you can, make sure everything's set up, and then the AdWords system is going to help you figure out what's the best combination. And again, there's so much data in the account for you to also understand when it's showing, how it's performing, and things like that. All right, great. We have one more myth here. I should apply all relevant extensions to all campaigns.
Yes, this is absolutely true. This is going to help you get the most clicks for the bids that you're currently using for your keywords. So you should apply it to all of your campaigns, all of your ad groups, depending on granularity, but do make sure that you have full coverage across your full account, across your whole account.
And the keyword here is really relevant extensions. Again, if an extension isn't relevant to your business, you don't necessarily need to set it up. You want to make sure that you're creating a really holistic ad experience with all the information that your users need for your business. You can really, customize the situation to make sure you're creating the best ads possible. So now we're going to jump into our live Q&A so that we can answer some of your questions on air. And it looks like we have some questions coming in.
So first question is, what are the best extensions to use?
It's a good question. It really depends on the business type. And I always say, think about exactly what your users want at the end of the day. Like if you think user first, you'll probably figure out exactly which extensions you need and it'll be pretty clear. If you try to think from your perspective, what extensions, you think you should have, it can be a little bit harder to figure out. So put the user first, put yourself in their shoes, maybe even ask some existing customers or some past customers that you have or prospective customers and say, what information would it be helpful for you to know up front? And then use that to guide which extensions you choose. And you can also look at your ads as a very, holistic ad. And you can say, all right, here's what I have in the description. Here's what the headline's telling them. What am I missing? And then use the extensions to fill in those missing gaps.
Yeah. Here's a good question. Someone asked, what is the easiest way to keep price extensions updated? So keep the prices updated within the price extensions. So yeah, we definitely have some other ways to kind of work around this. You can use the AdWords API, AdWords editor, and also our bulk sheet upload to make sure that your prices are always correct. And do remember that you can set start and end dates on the price extension itself. So if you know that you have a product that's going to sell for a specific price for a specific amount of time, you can schedule that within the AdWords system.
So something that's great to know is if you're going to have, a big sale, for example, maybe you change, your headline to reflect that there's going to be a huge sale, or maybe it's, in the call outs. But then you can reflect the prices as well so that, they're really seeing everything is fresh and relevant, and seeing that something is up to date, being able to tell that it's up to date might make some users more inclined to click if they feel like, wow, that's going to be accurate because this is a timely ad as opposed to just a generic ad with standard prices. So that's a key thing to use. And it's great that we have a few options. If you have any questions implementing price extensions or really anything about extensions at all, feel free to visit the AdWords Help Center, and there's step-by-step examples of how to use the API, how to use bulk uploads and things like that. So don't worry, we have all the resources you need regardless of which option you choose.
And you can also use our price qualifiers too. So maybe you have a service or a product where the price fluctuates a little bit, but it kind of stays within a general area. You can use from or up to to state your price and get that message across.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right.
Let's take a look at some different questions now. Here's a good one. Can I use both structured snippets and callouts on the same ad?
Absolutely, yes. So co-triggering, as we've talked about, is one of the biggest benefits of using extensions. So we can show many extensions at any given time. So thinking about how they interact with each other and making sure you're not repeating, one of our big best practices, not repeating information, because that can, take away an opportunity to provide a detail that maybe could be the factor that makes someone click and convert on your site. So yep, they can absolutely be shown together.
And here's another question. This comes up a lot, actually. Are there additional costs for ad extensions? That is a great question. No, they are complimentary to you. Whenever someone clicks on the headline of your ad, that's when you're charged. If they click on a site like, for example, you're charged as if that was just a normal click. So no additional cost for the ad extension.
Additional information at no additional cost. I like it. I like it. Let's see. Can you give us an example of a call out versus a structured snippet for the same business? I think in our example, we had two different businesses.
We did,
which could make it confusing. So for example, if you are a shoe company, shoes are great because they're so easy to use for structured snippets.
We all love shoes.
And everyone wears shoes. They're universal. So for example, your call outs would be things about your business, for example. So it would be free delivery or, high quality or, handmade in California or something like that. Something that applies to the whole business. And then you use the structured snippets to talk about specific attributes and specific products that you have. So you would say, styles, and then you would indicate the different styles of shoes that you offer, or brands and the different brands that you offer.
You could use.
So I often think of call outs as, value adds that you have at a business level, and then structured snippets can often be, specific attributes that you want to share.
Absolutely.
And what those values are. They provide different values. They can be quite similar for some businesses, but if you look at the headers for inspiration and look through that list and say, what are some details I can provide about the amenities I offer, the brands, the products, things like that. They can help guide that.
Absolutely. That's great. All right. Let's take a look at the next question. You mentioned linking with Facebook, Google+, etc. How is that done? So we mentioned that you can use a site link to link to your Facebook or your Google+ page. All you do in that situation is when you're creating the site link, in the final URL section, you would paste your Facebook page or your Google+ page. So that's how you would handle that situation.
Absolutely. Let's see. Any best practices for a business that use a call extension? Oops, can you scroll down?
Sorry.
That's okay. For the businesses that use a call center to enable message extensions? This is a great question. When we're thinking about customer support, the message extension is really a huge development, and it can be a great way to provide a different type of support. Again, I think, building it into the infrastructure that you have for a call center, they're actually quite similar when you think about a phone versus a chat option. And, really sometimes when someone chooses to enter the funnel through a message, maybe they want to stay on Messenger. And it can be a really easy way to resolve, especially if it's a call center type business and you're resolving, let's say, technical questions. It can be a great way for, you to answer those questions without investing in a phone call. Some things can probably be completely resolved over a message.
Absolutely.
So thinking about taking essentially what is probably a call center script, or at least, responses that are common and things like that, you can translate to a message. And what's great about that is, thinking from a call center business perspective, if you start to offer both offerings, maybe your newer trainees start on the chat option because they can have someone who's there to, help them guide the conversation and answer the questions. You can have, a kind of a list of perhaps, pre-populated answers that you often give. So it can also kind of complement your business needs as you're hiring for a call center by introducing a new medium, and also knowing that, your customers now have a different option. So maybe someone was only calling because they had to and they didn't have the message option. So it can be a nice way to kind of surprise your customers with a new medium that they prefer, which is great.
Definitely. Here's a great question, and we also get this question a lot. What ad extensions do you recommend to use for a B2B business scenario? So in this situation, let's say you're a software company and you're selling software to other companies. The 3 extensions I would start are the universally relevant ones. So you can start with Sitelinks to, take them to different pages on your site so that they get exactly the information that they're looking for. You can use the callouts to highlight what makes your software company better than other software companies. Maybe you have amazing customer service and that's a pain point in your industry. So you could highlight that, like stellar customer service, excellent customer service. And additionally, you can use the structured snippet extensions. Maybe there are certain services or features that you're highlighting within your software solution that you want to highlight to your potential customers.
And the review extension would probably be a really good fourth example for B2B, because it not only showcases potential clients that you've had, which may be a big selling point is, oh, our competitor uses this provider for their software. That's something that's like a big, piece of credibility. But also it provides, you're getting an endorsement value from the client that you have that's satisfied. And for something that's B2B, a lot of it is, knowing someone who uses it and has a great experience. So the review extensions is probably a really solid B2B option.
Yeah, or if you have price tiers, maybe for your software, maybe you have like an entry-level one and mid-level, you can always leverage that as well.
Absolutely. And that's something to think about with Sitelinks. And obviously this depends on how your website is created. But with Sitelinks, if you had a page for, maybe like maybe there's like a tier in terms of coverage or the level of service you receive with the software. So you could have a different page for each of those and then have Sitelinks for each so that you're really appealing to all your B2B customers, maybe your smaller businesses that want more standard package and maybe your larger ones that want a more involved, expensive package. So you can, think about how to take your website, transform it into Sitelinks, and then fill in the gaps of, okay, the Sitelinks are saying, here's the, range of services we offer. The call outs are saying, here are some really big perks about our offering specifically that the competitors may not have. And then the structured snippets go into the, the different types of, brands that you offer, or whatever it is. And then the review extensions really close it out with, and here's some credibility of people who are satisfied with our service.
This is why you can trust us. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So ads, these extensions really do work for a B2B audience, definitely.
Can ad extensions work with shopping ads? No, not currently. So ad extensions currently only run on the search network. And there are some that run on display as well, but mainly this is for search. Yeah.
All right, great. Well, thank you all for attending today's session and submitting these great live questions. We're always happy to hear from advertisers and answer questions that are specific to your needs, because chances are there's someone else out there who has the same question. So always my favorite part of the presentation. Thank you so much for being a part of today's session. And, be sure to let us know in the comment section if you have any questions. We're always here to help. All right, have a good day. Bye-bye. Bye.